Today they went over to York. It was gone 7 when he dropped her off. He generally comes in, but not this time. Just gives her a little kiss. She has to bend down. I said, hello, we had a nice time. Oh, yes, she said. Yes, we had egg and chips, tea, bread and butter. We've got a lot in common. And there's a brand new car park. I said, did you go into the Minster? No, she said, Frank's not very keen on old buildings. He said we need to look more to the future. He said they built a spanking new precinct in Bradford, so that's going to be next on the agenda. You're quiet. I said, well, do you wonder? Dr. Chowdhury said I should have a steady environment. This isn't a steady environment, with your fancy men dropping in every 5 minutes. She said, he's not my fancy man. I said, he's your fancy man in embryo. She said, you know I don't know what that means. I said, how old are you? She said, I don't know. I said, you do know. She said, I don't know. Tell me. I said, you're 72. She said, well, that's no age. How old was Winston Churchill? I said, when? She said, you think you've got it over me, don't you, Graham Whittaker? Well, I'll tell you something. My memory's better with Frank. He was telling me all about the economy. You've got it all wrong. I said, how? She said, well, I can't remember, but you have. Blaming it on the government. Frank says it's the blacks. I didn't say anything. Just came upstairs. When I went down again, she still sat there with her hat and coat on. I said, do you want to knit him a tea cosy? She said, well, I don't think he's the tea cosy type. When I first met him, he had a motorbike and sidecar. Besides, she said, I think he's got beyond the tea cosy stage. I said, what do you mean? She said, Graham, one aim in life is for you to be happy. If I thought by dying I would make you happy, I would. I said, your dying wouldn't make me happy. Quite the reverse, it would make me unhappy. Anyway, Mother, you're not going to die. She said, no, I'm not going to die. I'm going to get married. And the honeymoon's in Tenerife. Have one of your tablets. She made a cup of tea. I said, how can you go to Tenerife? You're smothered at Scarborough. She said, it's a 4-star hotel with tip-top air conditioning. You get your breakfast off a long table. I said, what about your bowels? She said, what about my bowels? I said, well, you said they were unpredictable at Morecambe. Get them to the Canary Islands and they're going to be all over the place. She said, who said anything about going to the Canary Islands? I'm going to Tenerife. I said, what about post-Tenerife? Where are you going to live? She said, here. Frank says he's going to be away on and off on business, but he wants to call this home. I said, what about me? She went into the kitchen. She said, we were wondering whether you might prefer to go back to the hostel. You were quite happy at the hostel. You rubbed shoulders with all sorts. I said, ma'am, this is my home. She said, a man should be living with his mother at your age, Frank says. Did you take the tablet? It's 4 o'clock in the morning now. I can't sleep. There's a car parked outside. I can't see anybody, but I think they're watching, like they used to do before. morning I went to community caring down at the health centre. It caters for all sorts. Steve, who runs it, is dead against what he calls the ghetto approach. And what he's after is a nice mix of personality difficulties as being the most fruitful exercise in problem solving and a more realistic model of society generally. There's a constant flow of coffee. Oil in the wheels, he calls it. And we're all encouraged to ventilate our problems and generally let our hair down. I sometimes feel a bit out of it as I don't have any particular problems. So this time then Steve said, right, now chaps and chapesses, who would like to set the ball rolling? I get in quick and tell them about Mother and Mr. Turnbull. Thank you, Graham, said Steve when I finished. Thank you, Graham, for sharing your problem with us. Now, would anybody like to kick it around? First off the mark is Leonard, who wonders whether Graham has sufficiently appreciated that old people can fall in love and have meaningful relationships generally, the same as young people. Well, I suppose that is understandable coming from Leonard, who is 65, only he doesn't have any meaningful relationships. He's been had up for exposing himself in Sainsbury's doorway. Like what was said, Tesco's, you could understand. Janice chips in. Had they been having sexual intercourse? I said I didn't want to think about it. Steve said, oh, why not? I said, I don't know. So well, perhaps what we should be talking about is why Graham is being so defensive about sexual intercourse. I said, I'm not being defensive about sexual intercourse. She's my mother. Jackie, who's 9 parts lesbian, says, yes, Graham, but she is also a woman. I couldn't believe this. I said, Jackie, you are an ex-battered wife. I thought you didn't approve of marriage. She said, Graham, I approve of caring marriage. I said, Jackie, this isn't caring marriage. She said, Graham, what's Tenerife? That's caring. All I got was a black eye and a day trip to Fleetwood. And they all have a go. Get Graham. Steve sums up. What is the general feeling of the group? Graham could be more open. I said, how can I be more open? There's somebody sat outside the house watching. I wanted to discuss that. Only Leonard leapt in and said that he felt the need to talk through an episode behind British Home Stores. I stuck it for a bit longer. And I came home. Man sat there, all dolled up. Earrings on, chiffon scarf, lathered in makeup. Oh, she said, I thought you were Mr. Turnbull. I said, no. She said, I'm going to go to the lab. She goes 3 times in the next 10 minutes. I said, you're not getting married today, are you? No, she said, no, they just opened a brand new Asda superstore in Bingley. We thought we'd go and give it the once over. Frank says they do a very nice selection of suntan lotions. It's also promised me something called a cheeseburger. So there's a cafe that's part of the complex. And I want to look out for some tissues. And he's on the lookout for a nice little chamois for his windscreen. As if, man, there's somebody watching the house. Maybe just then there's a toot on the horn. She runs to the lab again. I said, don't go. Don't leave me, ma'am. She said, I'm not giving in to you. You're a grown man. Is my own skirt showing? There's another toot on the horn. She said, Ma'am, she said, there's that nice bit of chicken in the fridge. You can iron those 2 vests. Have one of your tablets. Give us a kiss. Do a little bit. I think I'll go sit in the back room where they can't see me. I've pulled the curtains and I'm sitting there in the dark. I think I hear a knock on the door. I don't move. There's another knock, louder. I do like Dr. Charity says and tell myself that it isn't happening, but it is. Somebody shouts from the letterbox. I know you're in there! Open this door! So I do. And there is someone there. It's a woman. She said, are you the son? I said, what? She said, are you the son? I'm the daughter. I said, have you been watching this house? She said, on and off. Why? I said, nothing. She said, I don't know what there is for you to look so suited about. I said, you better come in.